Good evening, good evening, good evening again, folks. Welcome to another night spilling tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. Second video, Jesus. We're going back to that horrible world known as the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center. But before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or with the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In that, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so called behavior modification program. The JRC does not want you to read that article so much. They have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused, folks, so you know the drill. Read the article, share it on all your social media. You're also going to find linked in there NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC does decide to see through with their threat. Trigger warning. Oh, you're also gonna blah blah. I can't even think. Trigger warning number 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center and Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of disabled people and people with mental health issues being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, folks, please make sure to go ahead and utilize those headphones, all right? Trigger warning 2, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger, they are watching this. Very obviously, parental supervision is advised. Another disclaimer. I have been essentially mind raped by some of the dumbest human beings to ever walk planet Earth for the last 48 hours while being on the phones. So I'm I'm pretty much disoriented as well as struggling to string coherent words together into sentences that make coherent sense. So my apologies for a bit in advance there, right? All right, where we left off. Legal authority. An ESD used for SIB or AB is a device as defined by the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. The FD&C Act authorizes the FDA to ban a device intended for human use by regulation if we find, on the basis of all available data and information, that such a device presents substantial deception and or unreasonable and substantial risk of illness or injury, which cannot be corrected by labeling or change in labeling. If there is any device on planet Earth that can be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to cause substantial risk of illness or injury, the GED is it. This device has landed kids in the hospital catatonic, bruised on every single piece of skin to the point that ER doctors would order the device removed until the kid was healed. We have very documented receipts on this subject. It is unquestionable. Okay? Let's read on, shall we? A banned device is adulterated except to the extent that it is being studied pursuant to an investigational device exemption. Here's the interesting thing about the GED. If you go outside of the psycho circle of medical sycophants that tend to crowd around the JRC and its insanity, you are going to find that not a single institution is willing to set up any form of test in regards of the so-called potential, you know, benefits of the GED because they feel that it violates medical ethics. So, any of the big studies that you see coming out of places such as Yale, Harvard, the usual places where you see them publish things in Psychology Today, none of them, and we're talking about the same Yale who thought nothing about using radiation shots directly into the autistic brain to see if it would help with behaviors. That Yale. And they say to run a test in order to determine the benefits of the GED would be unethical. So the question is, who's going to run that test? Nobody but the JRC. Why would a study be on regards to the benefit of the device be bad coming from the JRC? Because this little thing called conflict of interest. The very people running the study would be the very individuals who have a stake in the game, as it were. You can't accept as data and evidence of benefits a test that is being provided by the very same folks who are, you see where I'm going, right? You see where I'm going with this here. Therefore, how would this be studied to be shown to be actually ethical? But the benefits outweigh the cost. Shoot me, because I would get more benefit from a freaking bullet to the brain than I would ever get from a so called conditioning device trying to force me to be neurotypical. We already get enough of that every single day of our lives. Anytime any of us decide to step out our door and make the sad mistake of forgetting to mask first. Okay? All of society crushes its weight down upon us to force us to pretend to be neurotypical if we are outside of our, what I like to call, our safe bubbles. Okay? If none of that, all that pressure from employers, fellow employees, just your general people on the street who are eyeing you weird, it's not enough pressure to change us from being autistic. Nothing's going to work. And the fact of the matter is, no matter how well some of us can mask and no matter how good we get at it, hi, how you doing? People still sense something off. You want to know why? Because it's an act. Okay? There is no such thing as conditioning it out of us. It's not how any of this works. All right? So, no matter how much torture and hell you want to put us through, psychologically, physically, and otherwise, we still are what we are at the end of the day. Okay? So, this whole, well, at least until there's further information about the possible benefits, there is no benefit. Okay? Oh, yeah, that's right. What society calls a benefit, which is actually just us masking that much harder so we can be, when it's time, left safe in our safe autistic bubbles alone in peace. Let's finish up, shall we? This final rule is also issued under the authority to issue regulations for efficient enforcement of the FD&C Act. And we're going to go ahead and close out, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time tonight. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you in a few minutes.